Curious what the relationship between the writers and the publishers is like, and if they're ever like, no, you can't, completely change this, or if they give you a lot of freedom, or obviously there's certain rules within the romance novel genre, and especially since you're doing 19th century, obviously you can follow certain rules there, but
you do, but your publisher doesn't necessarily know what those rules are. But the readers will, and if you don't follow them, they will get on you. So it's a different check.
Some of them will notice.
Yeah. The way that we have a great editor, she lets us have a lot of freedom. And it depends on who you're writing for. A lot of you got Harlequin books, and with Harlequin, often they will be given their topic, and they will be told who their hero and heroine are, and they have to write the story that they're told to write. That's not the case with us. In fact, a lot of people have to write synopsises and tell them tell their publisher what they're going to write about. We don't plot. We have no idea what our story's going to be about. We know who our characters are when we begin, and that's it. So we can't, when we're selling a book to them, that's all we can tell them is this is who it's about.
And this is kind of what we think might happen at the end of it,
But
and it
we don't
always
know.
changes. So we start out, we have to cast our hero and heroine, so we have a solid picture of what they look like. We have to pick the setting. And
I have to know their family and
just know the background.
family tree.
I've never understood it, but.
Where they came from, I don't know where they're going.
And then we have to figure out what the overall conflict is, and that's what we pitched to the editor. Like we just pitched our next 3 books, and they are a spin-off of this series, and they are when is an old dog?
Is it too old to train? I don't Is it well because they're adult men, but they have been not trained. They're wolves, so it's like an old dog.
Can you teach an old dog new tricks? That's what the series is about. Because these guys are all a little bit older and untrained. So.
Yeah, very. So to answer your question, it depends on who your editor is. It depends on who your publisher is. We write our book, and then she will come back and she will say, I don't like this aspect, or I want you to change this. And there's 2 times we've rewritten books because of that.
Book.
Yeah, from beginning to end. And then she will, eventually sign off on it, and then send it off to copy editors. But I know that there are things that she doesn't catch in a time period that I will, because she'll want us to do something like, it's not going to fit. You're going to have this discussion about why it's not going to work, and then come to an agreement. And
one book we had to rewrite because when we submitted it, both our hero and our heroine were Scottish. They both have Scottish accents, and she said too much brogue, and so we had to change the whole character for one of them.
Because you couldn't. He was a vampire, to answer your question, the earlier one, and which was really fun for me because today I watch I do watch things like Vampire Diaries or something to and you get a lot of these heroes who are younger than our heroes would be that we're writing in. So we brought in people like a guy who'd been a knight in the Crusades. So you have a really old vampire, so he's an old then, and then a lot of these Elizabethan, which is what we ended up with. Initially, he was a Scottish laird who had died in the Battle of Culloden. So he was a, Stuart blue-blooded Scotsman, and he was you could never take the words that he said and just put an Englishman in that role, because that was not who that character was. So we had to completely develop a new character and
rewrite the whole
story
from the start. We've done it twice. We did it with book 3.
Are there other issues where the barriers might be, or the tensions with an editor or publisher might be more common? So sometimes it's accent. Is it sometimes more certain elements of plots or certain boundaries that you can't cross?
Ours always says put more heat in it.
Okay, so it's more, not less.
That's with our publisher.
Yeah, that's with our publisher.
Everything. But there are definitely rules. But the publishers list what their rules are. We don't want X, Y, and Z in our books, and if you do, then you shouldn't submit to them. So if you've done your job as an author, and who you're submitting to, you shouldn't have those issues.
And there are some words with some publishers that you can't use, like some words that are appropriate for one line are not appropriate for another one, like names for body parts and all that kind of stuff. You just can't do it. It doesn't cross from one line to the next. And you have to know your rules before you submit, because if you send in something that has words that they don't like, then they'll reject you, and then you're starting all over again.